Welcome to my class. I am teacher Christelle, your English teacher. So, before we proceed to our discussion for this morning, let me ask you, my dear students, are you ready to our lesson for today? Yes or no? Perfect! So, let me go ahead and start our lesson. And here are the objectives for today's lesson. So now, let's imagine things. Imagine that you're a city girl, alright? Where your nightclubs or the nightlives, the buildings, the cars, the noises, your friends, your circle of friends, and your dream jobs are there. But on the other hand, you have the love of your life living in the province, meaning he is a provinciano and soon to be your husband. So, my question is, are you willing to give up your life in the city to live in the province for good? So let's find out the story that explains that true love exists and how this love can be shown. Before we proceed with our main lesson for this morning, let's find out who's the author of the story which we are going to talk about. So, he is Manuel Estabilo Argilla, and he was an Ilocano writer in English, patriot, and martyr. So he is known for his widely anthologized short story, How My Brother Leon Wrote Home a Wife, which won first place, and the Commonwealth Literary Contest in 1940. So most of Argilla's stories depict scenes in Barrio Nagrapcan, Bawang La Union, where he was born. So his bond with his birthplace, forged by his dealings with the peasant folk of Ilocos, remained strong even after he moved to Manila. So let's move on with the vocabulary builder, and here are the words that we can meet along our discussion. So we have the waig or the wig, so it is a body of water flowing in a channel or water course as a river, rivulet, or brook. And we also have the carretela. So carretela is a type of live two-wheeled carriage, typically having passenger seats facing each other and drawn by a single horse. Presenting to you the characters of the story. So first we have Leon or Noel, Maria's husband. So and we also have Maria, of course Leon's wife, and the city girl. We also have Baldo, Leon's younger brother and the narrator of the story. We have Labang, so the hardworking Carabao, and Aurelia, Leon and Baldo's younger sister, and of course we have the mother and father of Leon.
Please be guided with a comprehension question before reading. The question is, why do you think the father of Leon asked Baldo to change the route into Waig instead of Camino Real? Be able to write it down and answer it correctly.
And this is now the story of How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife by Manuel E. Argilla. So this is only a summary, alright? So, the first thing that happened in the story is
the story started when Baldo met his older brother and his wife Maria at the edge of Nagrapcan, La Union. Caseline drove them with a calesa from the terminal. As Baldo saw his manung's wife, he described her as lovely, tall, and beautiful. In her is reflected a woman who, though described as civilized, still shows the values atypical of a maiden in ancient times.
You are Baldo, and this must be Labang, whom I hurt so much.
You may scratch his forehead now.
Maria hesitantly touched Labang's head and scratched it daintily. While Leon faced Caseline, Baldo is captured by the beauty of Maria. Baldo heard his brother Leon call Maria by her name. For Baldo, the name Maria will also be how they will call her, not Maring, not Mayang. But Baldo was quite confused when he heard Maria answer Leon by the name Noel. He thought that their father would not like it, but for him, the name Noel sounds better. Baldo also saw how the two are deeply in love. Meanwhile, Labang made a loud sound that made Maria amazed. Then Maria asked,
Why does he make that sound?
There is no other like it. It's the only bull who does that sound.
If you continue to talk about him like that, either I shall fall in love with him or become greatly jealous.
Upon their journey to their home, Leon is wondering why Baldo drove them to the Waig instead of the Camino Real.
It was Father Manong. He told me to drive at Waig instead of the plain Camino Real.
The Waig route served as test to Maria if she can live in the province, which differs a lot from the city where she lived in. But then it seems like Maria likes Leon's province. She described this as beautiful, fresh air, clean, and free of dust. Baldo even described the beauty that they saw while traversing the Waig. He mentioned how the Katayagan Hills formed a silhouette while the sun set, how the crickets chirped, how the Dangla and Arrais roots smelled.
Look, there's our star, Noel.
I have been looking at it. Do you remember how I would tell you that when you want to see stars, you must come to Nagrebkan?
Yes, Noel. Look at it. It's so many times bigger and brighter than it was at Ermita Beach.
It was already dark and Baldo lighted the lamp. They saw the Andadasi and Arrais along the Waig. And then, Leon suddenly sang a song with Maria.
Have we far to go yet, Noel?
Soon we will get out of the Waig and pass into the fields. After the fields is our home, Manong.
Then the Camino Real curves around the foot of the Katayagan Hills and passes by our house. And I'll ask Father why we drove through the Waig.
Noel, do you think he will like me?
Does that worry you still, Maria? Father is the gentlest man I know. While continuing their journey, Maria was worried if Leon's father and family would like her. When they arrived home, Mother was smiling shyly on the doorway. Leon immediately asked her mother, Where is Tatang, Nanang?
He is at his room upstairs. His leg is bothering him again.
Father was in his room smoking his tobacco in the window. He talked to Baldo asking what happened during their travel. Did you meet anybody on the way?
No, Father. Nobody passes through the Waig at night. She is very beautiful, Father.
Was she afraid of Labang?
No, Father. She was not afraid. She looked at the stars, Father, and Manong Leon sang.
What did he sing?
Sky sown with stars. She sang with him, Father.
Father was silent again. Baldo could hear the low voices of Mother and his sister Aurelia downstairs. While Baldo and Father were in the dark and smoky room, the door opened and Leon and Maria came in. So, Father suddenly changed the topic and told him to let Labang drink water.
And that's the story of how my brother Leon brought home a wife. So for now, I'll be grouping you into 3. And for group number 1, here are the things that you are going to do. And for group number 2. And for group number 3. I'll be giving 8 minutes for this activity and your time starts now. Alright, time's up. By the way, the comprehension question will be checked upon processing your answer in the activity.
And now, let's move on with the analysis of the story. So, actually, the story is how the city bride of a village boy adjust to a life of a simplicity and toil in the village. And also, the father or the head of the family designs a tricky but genuine test for her to witness the reality of the village, and in the end, she passes it with flying colors. Then, when it comes to the style of writing the story, Argelia's writing style in How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife is definitely very descriptive, and he uses vivid imagery when depicting every scene in the story. And he also uses a local color. So when we talk about local color, local color is like a regionalism that refers to the presence of clearly identifiable characters, dialects, costumes, history, and topography that comes from a specific place as exhibited in the story. So we all know that Manuel Argelia, when his writing style is depicting scenes from his birthplace, which is Bawang La Union in Nagrabka. So as you can see, he adapt the places and the imagery depicting his childhood birthplace in the story of How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife. So let's move on with the point of view of the story. And we all know that the narrator of the story is Baldo, right? So Baldo uses first person I in narrating the story. That's why the point of view of the story is first person point of view, and of course third person limited. So why did I say third person limited? Because Baldo knows what happens in the story but only limited. So that's the point of view of the story. And when we come to conflict, so what is the conflict of the story? So it is actually man versus man. Why did I say man versus man? Because it is about Maria. So Maria is asking herself if she will be accepted by her soon-to-be husband's family. So it is man versus man. Okay? And now, let's move on with literary devices. So actually, when you are going to read the complete story of How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife, so a lot of literary devices you are going to see. However, I am just going to show to you at least one or two literary devices. Example of literary devices, and they are, first we have the simile. So the simile, we all know that it is about, as or like. So a comparison of certain things. So in the story, the simile there is here. So she was fragrant like a morning when papayas are in bloom. So it is a kind of simile, right? And then after that, we have actually the simile. That line is at the end part of the story. Baldo was the one who said about, she was fragrant like a morning when the papayas are in bloom, and he's talking about Maria, so Leon's wife. Alright, so now let's move on with the sensory details. So we have sensory details. So here is the example of the sensory details that is present in a story. So first we have the sun was in our eyes, for it was dipping into the bright sea. And then we also have the sky was wide and deep and very blue above us. So this is an example of a sensory details that is present in the story. And then we also have vivid imagery. And we know that Manuel Argelia's writing is very descriptive. So this vivid imagery is actually a literary technique of Manuel Argelia. So it means to include all the senses when describing something in a piece of writing. So these senses are seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching. So this is a literary device, one of the literary devices that the author uses in the story. And Now let's move on with what is the subject and what is the themes of the story. But before that, let me give you some information of what is the difference between subject and themes. So when we talked about subject, so subject is only consisting of 1 to 2 words. And when it comes to themes, it is more likely a sentence. Alright? So what is the subject of the story? So the subject of the story is this. So first one, we have life tests. So why life tests? So in the story, life can be full of tests. We all know that. So, and little do we know that most of the actions we do are all part of it. So this is one of the subject in the story. And of course, the subject of the story is about love. Why love? Because the story started because of love. How Maria walked out to her life in the city just to be with someone she loved, which is Leon. And now, the themes of the story. So the first theme that I have going to pinpoint in the story is about here. So one may have to surrender a small part of one's life in order to be happy. So that's what happens in the story. So Maria walked out of her life in the city just to be with his loved one, which is Leon. And another theme is here. Social status is not a hindrance if we truly love each other. So we all know that Maria is a city girl, and then Leon is a provinciano. But it is not a hindrance when you truly love someone, right? And then of course we have here. So meeting your special someone to your family is the right thing to do, and that's what's happened in the story. So Leon let Maria meet his family in a morning. That's it. And now let's proceed with the moral of the story. So actually, the central moral of the story is the ability to sacrifice things for the people you love. And we always do that, right? We always sacrifice everything. Actually, yeah, everything. We actually sacrifice everything for the people we love. Now, here are the values that I have seen in the story. So first, the story praises the ability to adapt to new circumstances and being positive to change and grow. It talks about overcoming hardships and fears and ultimately in finding peace and happiness in each other's betterment and well-being. And another values that I have seen in the story is that it is not the story is not judging people. So this is one of the values that I have gained, that the message of the story, it's about not judging people based on appearances and giving them space to express themselves and accept them for their differences. And it also celebrates a conservative and simple lifestyle over luxurious and ostentatious one. So Maria choose to have a simple lifestyle over luxurious things.
Wow, very good to all the group because you have answered it correctly. A resounding applause to all the group because all of you got 10 points. Very good. Now, get your quiz notebook and answer the following. Okay, please pass it in front and be able to write down your assignment for tomorrow.
And I think that's the end of my discussion for this morning. And I hope you have gained knowledge or moral values coming from that story, which is how my brother Leon brought home a wife. So I wish you have gained something. And if you have some questions, don't forget or don't hesitate to contact me on my FB account or my Messenger account, or on my Gmail account. So, once again, my name is Crystal Jane Asteleon, your English teacher. So, bye for now and see you in our next lesson. Bye-bye!